very good evening. It's 5 p.m. on the clock, which means it's time for The Money Show, your daily 1 hour long dose of everything to do with personal finances. I'm Mubina Kapasi, and here's what we have lined up today on the show. How many of you during this lockdown have used your mobile phones and downloaded digital investment and trading platforms? I'm sure one of you out of two have definitely done that, have definitely considered dabbling in the share market as well. So here I am going to introduce to you the co-founder of one such digital investment app, Upstocks. He will be joining us today on the show to reveal all the secrets and all that you can do with these apps that will help you manage your trades, your mutual funds, your shares, and a lot more. Later on the show, we will have our Meet Your Fund Manager segment, and today we are going to be bringing on board Vinay Paharia of Union Mutual Fund. And finally, to wrap up in our Spend with TMS segment, it's time, of course, to brace ourselves for a new normal, and that is work from home. So what are the few gadgets, the apps that you must purchase or download in order for you to have a more productive work from home day? That's who we will be talking to, an expert in that field, Mr. Nikhil Chawla of the Unbiased blog, in our Spend with TMS segment. But first up, let's introduce then Ravi Kumar, the co-founder of Upstocks, which, like I mentioned, is a digital investment platform. Ravi, thank you so much for joining us today on The Money Show. To start off with, let's just introduce your app to our viewers. I'm sure many of them already are familiar with the app and they may already have it on their mobile phones. But with the app, on your mobile, what can what does it help me do? Is it like a one-stop shop for all of my financial actions?
First of all, thank you for having me on your show, Mubina. It's a pleasure to be here. So Upstocks is an online platform, and we have full access to the entire equity markets. So you can open up an account very easily through your mobile phone. It's a very easy process. There are no paper documents to send. Everything is done very, very easily within a few minutes on your phone. And once you open up an account, we give you full access to purchasing stocks, futures, mutual funds, options, currencies, commodities, and we're continuously adding more and more products and investment products for the end user to invest. So it's a very easy to use platform, I would encourage everyone that wants to take charge of their finances and to find better ways of, growing your wealth to open up an account with us.
Ravi, my question was, are there any costs involved? If today I want to download Upstocks and I want to trade, of course, apart from the broker fees that obviously will be present, but to download the app, to use it, are there any costs involved?
At all, actually. So to open up an account with Upstocks, it's basically free, and we have some of the lowest possible brokerage rates, commission rates. So if you're actually investing through the platform and you purchase stocks for investment purposes, we charge you zero brokerage, and we're able to do this because we have an online-only presence. So we continuously invest in giving you, the end user, a wonderful, easy-to-use experience. And because we have no offline presence, we were able to pass on those cost savings back to the end user. So it's extremely easy to use, extremely low cost, and if you just do long-term investing, it's free. So we're actually the only money you'll have to put up is the actual purchase price of whatever equity you want to purchase, but there's no other commissions that we would charge you on the platform. And for all other types of products, so say you're purchasing, futures or options or currencies or commodities, we charge you a maximum of 20 rupees per order, which is very, very cost effective, very, very cheap. And that's part of the reason why we've been able to grow so well and so rapidly. We're also continuously trying to find ways of enhancing our product offering. So very soon you'll be able to invest in over 60 exchanges around the world through the Upstocks platform in 30 countries. And we're going to give you the ability to purchase, stocks such as Apple, Google, Facebook, or Toyota or even SoftBank shares all through our platform. And everything will be very, very easy to use and very low cost.
Okay. All right. Okay. Ravi, now you've grown rapidly. You mentioned that, and I would sort of hazard a guess in saying that a lot of the growth has also come in the last 3 months. I'm assuming you've added a lot of users, because the trend that we've been picking up, in the last couple of months, is that specifically during this lockdown, is that a lot of people who've now been sitting at home because of the lockdown, offices are shut. For some of them, even incomes have dried up. One way to not just pass time but also hope that they can sort of earn that quick buck is trading. And now digital platforms have made trading even more easy, even more convenient, accessible, cheaper, etc. Is that a trend that you've been seeing on your apps as well? Are a majority of your users, especially the new users, have they been using your app mostly for trading activity?
So we've definitely seen a pickup, pre-COVID up until now. So our volumes on our platform have doubled. But we've been growing very steadily even before that. So we actually broke a national record in December, for example, for opening up, 100,000, 1 lakh accounts in 1 month, which was before COVID. And this month, again, we've been just accelerating growth. So it took us, 2 years to get to the first 1 million customers. And, we think the next 6 months, so by December of this year, we'll cross 2 million customers on our platform. So there's definitely been enhanced activity, but that just, I think it's maybe accelerated, the kind of drive towards enhanced equity, increased equity participation. Most of our users now don't come from tier 1 towns. They don't come from the Mumbai and Delhi and Chennai of India, but they come from much, much smaller towns, tier 2, tier 3 towns and beyond. These are people that have in the past not had access, to advanced, platforms. And now they can do everything on their phone. They can open up an account on their phone. They can get support on their phone. So a lot of the growth we're seeing is from these smaller towns. And we see that accelerating more and more, as time goes on. So I'm talking about towns like, Nashik, Jaipur, Guntur, Kannur, very, very small towns across India.
All right. Okay. That's very interesting to know that, now you have, people not just from, your Mumbais and Delhis, but also from the smaller towns, the tier 2 towns, the tier 3 towns that, essentially want to participate in the Indian equity markets. You've recently also, of course, and I think you mentioned that in your first answer as well, that you've upgraded your trading platform to accommodate even option trades. Do you think that a lot of new customers are now using that platform, this entire option trading platform that, your app has accorded?
We're continuously building new features, right? Like this global investing tool that I just spoke to you about is about to launch, in a few weeks. But we've launched an enhanced options trading platform, which is, of course, beneficial for options traders. So it gives you access to better market data, level 2 market data, enhanced charting tools, an option strategy builder, so you can do more complex kind of orders. But majority of our users don't do options. The majority of our customers are placing orders on the cash markets, and they're doing direct equity investments, on the exchanges in India, along with the other product types. But yes, the options platform that we launched is definitely something that we've spent a lot of effort on, and it's been a pretty big hit, I would say.
And a very interesting statistic that you shared with us earlier is that a majority of your users are under 35, the millennials as you call them. In fact, almost 75% of your users are under 35. Would you also categorize them as first-time traders who are sort of dipping their feet in the equity markets for the very first time? Because it clearly indicates that more and more young people perhaps want to adopt this DIY method of managing their investments and managing their money, and that can be done, of course, through a digital investment platform like yours.
Yeah, look, we've always believed that the Indian customer is very savvy, and they're going to put their money to the best use possible. And especially as you see an environment now where interest rates are dropping. And people are, especially during this lockdown, people are realizing the importance of having liquid assets. So rather than putting your money in things like real estate or gold, and not having access to those to those investments in a time of need such as now, keeping those savings and in more liquid investments such as stocks and mutual funds, is very beneficial. So we're definitely seeing increased participation from younger people. As you mentioned, right, 75. In fact, it's almost 80% of our customers below the age of 35. 85% of our orders are all done through your smartphone, which is very different than how it used to be done traditionally. These are all pointing to trends of a much younger, mobile savvy, internet savvy customer onboarding on our platforms. And this combined with the fact that most of our customers are not coming from tier 2, tier 3 towns and beyond, just a wonderful, wonderful story of deepening equity participation in India. We've always believed at Upstocks that the India story is beautiful. It's a very long-term story, and we want to play a significant role in really increasing equity participation. Equity participation in India is still very, very low, and that needs to change, especially as as India's GDP is amongst the fastest in the world. The worst thing that can happen is if the people of India are not able to participate in this wonderful growth story. So part of the kind of driving mission at Upstocks has been to making it easier and easier for people to onboard digitally onto an investment platform, trading platform such as ours, and giving them more and more access to more and more products, and letting them, as you said, right, DIY, letting them figure out what they want to invest in, letting them participate on their own terms in the equity in India's growth story.
Okay, so that's Ravi, where I would like you to share your pearls of wisdom then to this crop of investors under 35 that want to take charge of their own money. They're using your platform to do so. They may be digitally savvy, like you mentioned, a lot of India is, but they may not necessarily be savvy with things like the equity markets. But given the circumstances, they all want to dip their feet, and they all want to sort of they're looking at the rally that the Nifty has posted, and they're thinking that, listen, even I can make a quick buck or two. So like I said, pearls of wisdom from you for all these newly emerged day traders who are participating in the equity markets by trying to trade markets when they've never even invested before. What advice would you give them?
Trading, right? I mean, it's about taking charge of your own future to some extent. So India has a vast assortment of wonderful companies that are run by some of the best management in the world, right? So participate in that story and read up. The internet is so open. There's a treasure trove of information out there across thousands and thousands of websites. So no matter where you are today, you can just pick up your phone and read about. So say, for example, you're interested in cars, right? Like Warren Buffett always said, you should invest in things that you know about, right? Like I'm a fan of vehicles, so I would go and I can read up on what Tata is doing, what Maruti is doing, for example, and read about their trends and what's going on, and you gain a deeper insight into those businesses. And as you start growing more and more knowledge, you start small. So we're all about removing barriers, especially at Upstocks. So we're all about making it easier for people to just, if you want to buy something right now on the spot, you can just do that. If you want to figure out what the 52-week high low is of a certain stock, you can just do that immediately. You want to figure out some fundamental indicator, you can get access to all of that for free through our app. So I would encourage people to start slow. And start small. So read, educate yourself, talk to various people. Don't rush into things. Don't take advice from people you don't believe in, or you just like. We need to move away from this tips kind of market, right? So I think education is very, very important, and when that education is overlapped with areas of interest, where you're deeply passionate about a certain field of study, for example, I think that's a wonderful thing, and then this becomes a longer term, lifelong kind of, thing that you do, right? You read about those companies, you take charge of your finances. So, I would say start small, place stop losses, so make sure you're always aware of the maximal risk that you can take, and make sure that, especially when you start early on, that, you don't risk, your life savings. I would really advise people not to do that. So I think starting small, starting slow, and continuously educating yourself is very, very important. And there's no shortage of advice there today on the internet, as you're aware.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we have a syndrome of TMI at this juncture. You don't know what news to, sort of ignore and what to really absorb and put into application. Ravi, when you do have so much power in your hands, right? When it's all there in your mobile phone, it sometimes gets very tempting to go in for that one more trade and just put in a bit more money and go for that risky bet, so on and so forth. But how would you essentially advise viewers to exercise that restraint, or how would you advise they draw the line on how much money they should put in trading, and where should they stop? How would you advise that, especially because when you have everything right there in your finger, on your hands, on your fingertips, and there's nobody even to tell you that and advise you and listen, maybe you should not do this. Like, for example, if you probably had a broker, if you had a broker, he would probably advise you, maybe stop you a little here and there, probably. But in this case, the power is completely in your hands.
Yeah. I think we're all about self-directed, as you mentioned, right? And we also believe that we don't want to have a conflict of interest in our business. So, like you mentioned, a broker. So, a lot of traditional brokers, for example, we believe at least that there is a conflict of interest, because they make money when there's more and more trades and transactions happening on their system. So, because of that reason, we're not in the business of giving people advice. We're in the business of giving people access to, every possible information source out there for them to go and read and educate themselves, and then decide on their own terms, what they should buy and sell, what they're comfortable to buy and sell. So I would recommend people to have a very strict, disciplined strategy. This is like, dieting, I would say, right? If you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to gain weight, you sit down, you come up with a strategy, and before that, there's like a plethora of diets out there. You'd have to figure out which diet you should go on. So I think investing is very similar. There's different types of strategies out there. You have to figure out which one kind of is talking, correctly to you and to your tastes and to your risk appetite. And then you start small, and you stick true to your strategy. So figure out, there's different types of money management and portfolio management strategies. And again, it's all on the internet. You can read up about them. But figure out how much money you're willing to risk. Start small, start slow, and be extremely, extremely disciplined. And we've seen the power of this. Like some of our customers, for example, that do very, very well, are some of the most disciplined people out there. So the discipline and cultivating discipline continuously. It's like a muscle. You have to keep working at it, and you have to keep exercising it, and you become better and better over time. So, and again, we live in a world today, like you mentioned, right? Like you can place your order anytime you want, but you can also keep reading about new things anytime you want. You can keep educating yourself about new things anytime you want. So that's what we always, hope our customers do.
Okay, well, all right. Ravi, thanks so much then for joining us today and, sort of guiding our viewers as they use digital investment platforms to manage their trading, their investments as well. Definitely does give them the power to DIY their money management. Thank you, Ravi, once again for joining us. Well, we will take a very short break right here on the show, but when we return, all the individuals that have units of Union Mutual Fund, pay attention and stay tuned, because you will get a chance to meet your fund manager, Vinay Paharia.